She hadn't seen the ranch in 12 years. Not since her father told her to ride out and never come back. But now, everything was drier. Maynard. The watering hole was half dust. The grass, brittle as paper. A bent windmill groaned overhead, slicing shadows across the porch. When she swung down from the saddle, cicadas screamed like warning bells. No welcome. Just silence and heat. And the man on the porch, once iron and thunder, now barely more than bones in a rocker. Her father, dying, staring straight through her like he wasn't sure if she was memory or ghost. He didn't say her name, just pointed to the map, creases splitting the territory like old scars. They want the well, he rasped. All that matters now. The map was marked in red, corporate initials scrawled over pasture and creek bed. She didn't want this fight, didn't want his legacy, but something in his voice, dry, desperate, tugged at the part of her that still remembered his hands lifting her to a saddle. "You left me," she said. He coughed, smiled bitter. Not soon enough. Outside, thunder rolled distant. Maybe weather, maybe war. She hadn't decided which side she was on yet. They came at sundown. Black coats, clean boots, company steel polished and silent. The one in the middle wore no badge, but everyone knew he was the kind you didn't cross twice. They sat on the bluff watching the ranch like it was already theirs. One pointed toward the windmill, another spit dust. They weren't in a rush. They knew time was on their side. And death, too. Below, the old man in the rocker didn't blink. And his daughter? She watched them from the barn shadows, hand brushing the grip of a colt she hadn't touched in years. She turned the pump, slow, hand blistered, the well groaning like it remembered better days. A trickle fell into the tin bucket, barely enough to spit in. Behind her, her father hacked into a rag, the kind of cough that pulled from deep in the ribs. "You still think this place is worth dying for?" she asked. He didn't answer. Just watched the sunset bleed over the hills. The sky was the same as it had been when she was a girl. Cruel, beautiful, unforgiving. She looked at the water, then at him. "It might be," she whispered, unsure if he heard. She found the ledger buried beneath rusted tools, wrapped in oilcloth. Her father's handwriting, tight, angry, fading. Listed debts, livestock, rainfall. In the margins, notes about corporate pressure. Bribes refused, neighbors bought out. She read until the lantern flickered low. Outside, rain whispered against the tin roof, too light to matter. The numbers didn't lie. The ranch was dying long before the well. And the men in black? They didn't just want water. They wanted the last man in the territory who dared say no. She ran her fingers down the list of losses. Her name wasn't written anywhere. But she was part of it now. They met at the gate, two shapes carved from different kinds of steel. He had the look of a man who shot first and explained with paperwork later. She wore dust-like armor, hands steady on the fence rail. "We'll offer fair," he said, "before it turns bloody." She smiled without warmth. "Fair died when you sent riders before lawyers." His hand drifted near his holster. Hers didn't move, but her eyes made the point. He nodded once, like two gamblers calling a bluff. "Clock's ticking," he said. She watched him ride off, and heard her heartbeat count every second that followed. The morning came hard and dry. No dew, no birds. Just the ring of spent shells hitting barn floorboards. She lined up each shot like memory. The day she first rode, the day she left, the night she came back. Each can that fell was a debt she couldn't repay. Her father watched from the porch, silent, wrapped in a blanket of failing breath. She didn't shoot for show. She shot to remember who she had to be now. The sound echoed off the plains like distant thunder, the kind that doesn't bring rain, only fire. He was slipping. Each hour, a little less fire in his eyes. She pressed a cool cloth to his head, ignoring how her own hands trembled. "You should have sold," she whispered. "Left this dust and pride behind." He blinked slow. "This land's not mine. It's yours now, or theirs." His breath rasped, weaker than before. Outside, lightning crawled across the sky, teasing rain that never came. She looked at the cracked ceiling, the flaking walls, the man who taught her to hold a rifle but not her anger. She wanted to forgive him, but first, she had to finish this fight. She rode quiet, hooves muffled by sand and instinct. The corporate camp was tucked behind the ridge. 6 men, 2 wagons, 1 fire flickering like a heartbeat. They laughed like they'd already won. She studied the layout, counted rifles, memorized the shadows. This wasn't justice anymore. It was survival. The well wasn't deep enough for negotiation. The land too old for mercy. She backed her mare into the brush, heart cold, mind sharp. Tomorrow, they'd bring a contract or a coffin. She wasn't signing. And she wasn't digging. The sun rose hard and fast, like it knew what was coming. She stood at the gate, boots planted, rifle balanced easy in her hands. Behind her, the ranch was still. Her father's roca sat empty, swaying in the breeze. Ahead, dust rose, 5 riders wide, rifles slung, led by the one in black. No lawyers, no signatures, just muscle and silence. She breathed deep, slow. Let them come. Her hands didn't shake. Her heart did. Not from fear, but from the weight of holding something that used to be her father's. The land. The fight. The legacy. The first shot was his. The second was hers. Then the world turned dust and thunder. She dove behind the fence as slugs split dry wood, the air thick with smoke and grit. Her rifle kicked like a mule, but she hit what mattered. 1 down, 2 wounded. She moved like water, low, fast, silent. This wasn't glory. This was blood and breath and desperation. They came to take. She came to defend. And when her rifle clicked empty, she drew her father's Colt. The sun climbed higher, but the air stayed red. He bled slow, looked at her like he couldn't believe it, like this wasn't how it was supposed to end. She stood over him, Colt still warm, dust clinging to her sweat. "You could have walked," she said. He tried to speak. Didn't make it. The plain stretched behind her, still dry, still cruel. But the ranch was hers now. Bought in blood, paid in full. Thunder rumbled far off. Maybe rain. Maybe just memory. Either way, it was done. For now. The house was quiet now. No gunfire. No groaning hinges. Just the cicadas, relentless in their mourning. She sat beside the rocker, folded the old map along its creases, each line now a story, each faded note a cost. Her father's blanket still held his scent, tobacco and sun. She didn't cry. There wasn't anything left to let go. Just heat and stillness, and the realization that inheritance didn't come in deeds or names. It came in choices, and she'd made hers. The well hadn't deepened. The land hadn't softened. But she hitched the mule anyway, cart loaded with what she had, jugs, a shovel, a dream not yet buried. She walked the ridge where the gunman used to sit. Now it was just dust and ghost prints. Down by the watering hole, the soil cracked like old porcelain, desperate for one more drink. She didn't pray for rain. She brought it, 1 jug at a time, because this ranch would live or die on her back, just like it always had. Evening fell in gold and silence. She sat on the porch, rifle across her lap, cloth in hand. No danger in sight, but her fingers moved on instinct. Clean, careful, reverent. The wind tugged at her coat, and for a moment she imagined her father beside her, grumbling about clouds that never came. She smiled, just once. Tomorrow might bring more riders, or more drought, or nothing at all. But tonight, she was still here. The ranch stood. And the water hadn't run dry yet. The ranch looked small from the ridge, just a smear of lantern glow, and fences drawn in memory. She stood in the dark, watching, listening. No horses on the wind. No boots in the dirt. Just the hush of land waiting for something. She tilted her head to the clouds gathering overhead. No stars tonight. Just wait. Maybe rain. Maybe reckoning. The kind that doesn't ask permission. But the ranch was ready. And so was she. They came back days later. Paper, not pistols. A deed. Stamped and signed. Nailed to her fence like a challenge. Corporate seal, at the top. Offer doubled. Language softened. Threats buried beneath legal dust. She didn't touch it. Just stared. Then, set it alight. Watched it curl, blacken, vanish. The wind carried the ashes across the field, over her father's grave, past the well. Let them send ink, she answered with fire. And fire remembers. She rode out at dusk, alone again. The windmill creaked like it always had. Sharp, tired, stubborn. In the distance, storm clouds crawled over the edge of the world. Real rain, maybe. Or just thunder dressed like hope. She didn't look back. Didn't need to. The ranch had her mark now. And the land. It might die tomorrow. But tonight, it was hers.